this video, I'm going to show you how to use the pivot table tool in Excel. This is really useful in your work. We don't use it too much in class, but it's a really helpful tool here. Now, everything that we're doing, we could go ahead and sort our data and do it manually. This will just make it a lot easier for us. So let's say I'm interested in looking at the average age for men versus women. And maybe I'm also interested in whether this differs based on their marital status. So what I'll do is I'll go to Insert, click there, and then over here on the left, I'm going to click Pivot Table. Now first I have to tell it where my data is, so I'm going to select all of it. I start at A3, Age. Make sure you include your labels here. Highlight all my data, and then I'm going to tell it I want it in a new worksheet. It just looks cleaner that way. And I'll say OK. Now you can see I have a new tab over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on Gender on my pivot table fields. It gets this from my raw data. And I'm going to pull that down into rows. And so now you can see it's going to look at females and males. So now I want to think about the age. That was the dependent variable I wanted to summarize. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to pull it down to values. Now I look here, and it's not very helpful because it's just giving me the sum. So the fact that I have a sum of 666 doesn't really tell me much because I don't know if there's an equal number of men or women. So I need to go ahead and change that to an average. So I'm going to go over here, click on Sum of Age, and then I'm going to click on this bottom one where it says Value Field Settings. And that's how I'll be able to change how it's displaying the data. So it defaults to telling me the sum. If I wanted the count, I could get that, but I'm going to want the average. So remember in Excel, when I'm going for the mean, it's going to call it the average. So click on Average, then say OK. And so now I can see that overall, ignoring gender, my average age is 45.04 years. But for men, it's an average of 41.5, women 47.6. So I've got that. Now I can go ahead and make it more complex. So I said I was interested in marital status. I could go ahead and grab marital status and pull that down into rows. And then it's just going to give that as a subset. So I can see, for instance, there aren't any single or widowed females in my data set, but it gives me the average in each group. I could also put in count as well, but that's a little more than we need to do right now. If I don't like the way it's set up like here, if that doesn't work for me, I could grab marital status and instead of putting it in the rows, pull it over here into the columns, and it would give me my crosstabs in a different way. It gives me the same data, it's just displaying it in a way that's going to make more sense for whoever's using it. And that's just a brief introduction to how we use pivot tables.